Hi, everyone. Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today, and I am very excited. Today on the show, we have guest Robin Hallett. Now, Robin is an intuitive healer, and I learned about her from our mutual friend, Amina Falchetto. Now, I've had her on the show before. If you haven't seen her show, I will link it up in the show notes. It's a great episode as well. But she said to me, Sheila, you have to meet Robin. And I am so glad I did. We reached out and she's here on the show today. So welcome, Robin.
Hi, Sheila. Thanks for having me. And let's say Amina is awesome.
She
So
really
I'm grateful
is.
to her for connecting us.
She really is. I think she is someone she flies a little bit under the radar to me, and she has so much to offer. So I try and promote her as much as I can. I love her.
Yeah, superstar.
Superstar. I love that. Well, awesome. Well, let's learn a little bit more about you, Robin. So, I want to learn a little bit more about your backstory, what you do, and, kind of how that got you to where you are today.
Okay, so I have been intuitive forever. And that means to me that I just know things. I know things about people, and especially around what's their edge, what they need to work on and heal so that they can have a better life. And I knew that at 5 years old. I was always the kid in class who the teacher would be like, and that's enough from you, Robin. I'd be like, Mrs. Sanders, you're not happy today, so I've always been that way. And my work, I started volunteering in nursing homes when I was 8, and I always wanted to not just be one of those uplifters and inspirers, but help get to the bedrock stuff that nobody else is talking about. I think for everyone, there's an obstacle, there's some kind of kernel of a wounding or something that holds us back, that if we don't get to that, sure, you can go forward in your life, but it's sort of like having a boulder in your back pocket. You can't really travel as far or as quickly as you'd like to. So my background has always been in jobs, and like I've been a volunteer firefighter. I was a paramedic for a number of years, a 911 dispatcher. I worked at the hospital here in town for 3 or 4 years, thinking I was going to go to medical school, and pursued that entire the pre-med degree, and just paid off the student loans last year, Sheila. Oh my gosh. And in my early 20s, my mom had a stroke, and I'm an only child, and she wasn't married, and that meant I sort of had to stop everything I was doing and be there for her. And I took care of her for 9 months, and then she passed away, and it was a huge, that was my big wake up, because before that time, I wasn't very aware of spirit or God or, feeling good, or I just had this intuition about people, but I didn't really do anything with it. So that was my big wake up. The day she died, it was sort of like someone turned the lights on in the room, and I was aware of a lot of things happening, and I started pursuing healing.
Well, let me ask you this. So there are several things I want to ask you about this, but I guess one of the things is that I read this story about you and your mom, and
Yeah.
and you guys had some issue, right? So you
Big
had some
time.
things going on. So can you share that with us, a little bit of that story as well?
Yeah.
Because I
So
think, let me just interrupt one second. Because I think people may see that as, yes, she's a daughter, she took care of her mom, that's what we do. But it was
right.
different for you.
Oh my gosh, it was really tough.
Let's talk
And
about that.
so my mom was born in Germany and came over on the boat when she was 18. She met a GI who she fell in love with after 3 dates, and he asked her to marry him, and she said yes, and she moved to America. She had always wanted to get out. She was like the true entrepreneur, always wanted to get the hell out of where she was and get to the big, she wanted to move to New York, New York, New York, New York. So she was a very driven woman. And, the tough part for me, as I shared in that blog post, was everybody around her thought she was a firecracker. She was an inspiration. She would go rollerblading. She would jog she was 53 when she passed. So
Early.
yeah, early. And we had no idea it was coming. It was one of those things. It wasn't health related. It was a birth defect. I guess that's health related, but we
Sure.
didn't know. And yeah, we had a really difficult life because she was on a path, she was on a journey, and that was her number one thing. Having a daughter and whatever that means, and being part of a family, nurturing that relationship and really helping me grow. It wasn't that it wasn't important to her, but her number one thing was making something out of herself and becoming successful. And that just ate all of her attention and focus. And it was a real detriment. So, I still can't think of her and picture hugging her, we just.
That's hard. And in your story, when I read it, you said that it was hard for you because when people were there when your mother was ill, they were talking about how awesome she was and how proud of you that she was. And for you, you're like, that's a different person than the person that raised me.
And it was a really trying time because she was on hospice for several weeks, and that's a huge and emotional journey for anyone to go through. And then there were people there, her close friends, who would take me by the shoulders and say, Robin, she loved you. You just have no idea. You were her light. And I would be sitting there like it was such a vulnerable time. And
wow, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So a lot of my work, I'm 44 now. So let's say for 20 years, I have been working on that piece, a lot of that around just allowing my truth to be here and to give up the facade.
Yeah. That was your boulder in your back pocket.
Big time. Yeah. Big time. And the other piece around that is the way we try and make our parents proud, especially when we have a hard relationship and we just want to get them to love us, man. I think everyone listening can relate to that. There's somebody in your life where you're like, that person does not like me. What can I do? Yeah, and I had pursued the degree in medicine for her. I was married when she died. I married someone else, not who I call number one husband today. I'm married to somebody awesome now. But at the time I married someone she kind of picked for me. And man, the stuff we do to make people love us who just don't, or they can't.
Yeah. That's a very impactful story for me. Yeah. Let me ask you this. So I told you before we started recording that I was going to be very honest and tell you that I'm not a big of a woo-woo person, right?
Right.
So, but I am to a sense, and my good friend Amy Miyamoto, she has helped me get more grounded in that because she is and she gets it, but she teaches it and helps me in a very realistic way, which is what I really liked about you because I see sort of the same thing. So some of us are scared by the terminology and the woo-woo, but to you, it's just second nature. I mean, it's almost like your sixth sense, right? Yep. You just get it. Yeah. And do you think some of that is because you just get it because it's just you were born that way, or some of it is because of some of the things you developed early on because of your relationship with your mother? I mean, what's your feeling on that?
So it's I always say some and some, and thank you, Amy, for helping Sheila because Sheila, you're evolving too, and you've got a massive mission in this life, and to wake up women and help inspire them, and you're like a bridge to help women get from where they are now to where they want to be as well. And so, thank you for that. I'm really glad. So yeah, the woo-woo thing it's kind of weird to me. I obviously I know a lot of healers and I'm in that community as well. And I find that the unnaturalness about it is usually a bravado to cover up self-confidence and nervousness about, will the world accept this? And so we start to speak in a very bizarre and weird way, which makes us sound maybe lofty or smart, but for me, I'm just a down-to-earth person. I'm in the world. I love to do things like watch TV and play video games and have martinis once in a while and hang out with my friends. And I tried to live that ashram lifestyle where you meditate and and I do meditate, but I mean like all day long and drink nothing but wheatgrass and talk about the chakras and speak about all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, the percentage of the world that's into that stuff and speaks that language, it's very small. So you're limiting the number of people that I could reach if I did that. And that's not me anyway. I mean, I'm just a normal, regular person. And
I love that.
But to speak to that piece, the other piece you asked is, it feels good to me to take care of myself. It feels good to me to practice kindness and peace. It feels good to me to remember that taking care of my spirit and my feelings and my emotions and the crap that comes up, dealing with that stuff, it feels good, and I feel easy in my body, and I feel happy all the time. And people are always saying, I want to be like you. How do I get that glow or that light? And I'm like, it's about being easy. It's about being gentle, taking care of yourself, and addressing the boulder, because
Yeah.
everybody's got more than one.
Sure. Yeah, and I love that again because there are people like me I'm pretty business oriented. I'm no fluff. So sometimes sometimes I'm a little bit,
Yeah.
it's harder for me sometimes to relate to him because I'm like kind of a non BS kind of approach to things.
Yeah.
But I will say though that when I texted Amy the other day, I said, I'm not afraid of woo woo. I'm really
Right.
not. I want to get it. And I think
Right.
so many people are like me. They want to get it. But it's the terminology that scares us. But
Yep.
we need that because Amy, my friend, I keep mentioning Amy, and like your stuff as well. You're teaching us that really you have to have both. You
Yeah.
have to be balanced, if you will, or have a rhythm or a blend of both
That's right.
to be able to be really successful.
That's right. And, we're shifting the paradigm that successful people, they work so hard that they break their own legs off and they have massive heart attacks. And it's sort of like a rite of passage to be, in really crappy shape and but be billionaires. And we're shifting that paradigm. So the new way is really about integration, to really realize that our body is the only container we have, the only vehicle, and we need to be kind to it. But also, like we said, the emotions, the stuff that comes up, must be dealt with, because the truth is we all have something amazing to contribute in the world. You have something and I have something, and no two are alike. And if we don't bring that forward in a balanced and centered way, it will kill us. The desire to be whatever it is you're dreaming about being will eventually kill us one way or another if we don't start to honor it and address it and allow. These are all woo-woo terms, Sheila. Are you freaked out?
No, not
It's
yet.
not, right?
I'm doing good. Yeah. See?
Honor and allow the reality. Like, there's some stuff coming up that's really familiar to me, upsets. I keep having the same thing. Why don't I just deal with it?
Yeah.
Let me talk to, Robin, and deal with it.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I think, because I think it's the same way. Yesterday I was watching a video on Good Life Project with Jonathan Fields and
Love.
Mitch Joel. Love, love, love. We'll talk about that more in just
Yeah.
a second. But they were and I love it when men talk about work-life balance. And I don't believe in the term work-life balance. And they were saying they don't either. They called it more work-life blend.
Yeah.
And Mitch Joel explained it as your life is like a stool. You have business, and you have the three pegs. You have business, you have family, and then I think it's called community. And maybe it's the balance of being comfortable with who you are.
Yep.
If any one of those are off, you can't be really successful in the other.
Correct.
So when I talk to people about work-life rhythm and work-life blend, you have to integrate those things. So I think it's the same way with your emotions. We can't put those off anymore.
That's
it's
right.
a part, because if you're screwed up where all of your emotions are, you're going to be screwed up in business.
That's right.
It happens.
That's right. And that's what I call the classic awkwardpreneur. Not the entrepreneur, but the
Oh,
awkwardpreneur.
I love it.
And so what we do in that case, and this was my mom, we go forward. We have this amazing genius, right? And we're so fired up and inspired, but it's like every little pebble that comes in the way in terms of an upset or something that needs your time and your energy, someone asking you to contribute back to the community, you're like, yeah, get out of my way. You're picking up that stuff and throwing it out of your path. And you're like, I just need to stay focused and keep going. But you're right. You bring that crap storm with you. You carry that forward, and it's palpable. Everybody's intuitive. So the reason you pick up vibes, another woo-woo term, but you get the heebie-jeebies from certain people, it's because that big crap storm is also there in their energy field, not being dealt with, totally being ignored.
Yep.
And you're awkward. You're not great at your job. And, the other thing on that then, Sheila, is I meet people a lot who are like, how come I'm not successful? Why haven't I don't have enough likes on Facebook, or people don't watch my channel, or I don't have any subscribers. And it's usually because of this. This energy is so palpable and it's present. People feel it. It comes off your website. It's on your Twitter posts. You can feel the desperate vibe.
It's your being. It's who you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move into this one way or another.
I love it. And I love that you can use the woo-woo terms of vibration, because then you followed up with crap storm.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
love that. I love words like that.
I love it. Which is why people like me can relate to people like you and my friend Amy.
Yeah.
Because you make it realistic. You don't make me uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, you make me want to share more.
Right. And that's the point. It's like we're really here to share and relate and connect. And going back to Jonathan's interview, and the three pegs or the three legs of the stool, we're really here to have a good life, an amazing life. And you know what? That's not just about doing one thing. You have to be satisfied and fulfilled and thrilled a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this real quick. Let's jump script a little. And you actually are working with Jonathan Fields. You're in his.
I am.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because I admire him, and I know you do as well. But you're actually truly working with him in his business type programs. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Sheila, it was one of those big coups of my life. My I've made it moment was to be selected to join his Good Life Immersion program. And so it's a mentorship program for anyone who's really looking to make that big, massive step forward. And I have a dream and I have a vision. And I shared some of that on my recent post. One day I want to speak at Madison Square Garden and share my message, my down-to-earth, humorous message about.
You gave me chills.
Yeah, get your crap together, people. Let's go and let's rock our lives like we really mean it. So I know. And so I love Jonathan. I've been watching his program and reading his books, and he's amazing. So to be invited to join his program, to be accepted, to apply, that was my gauntlet, man. Some people do the 5K or the triathlon. I'm like, this was it for me, to really put my heart out there and say, just like Meredith in Grey's Anatomy, choose me, pick me.
Love it.
And to get in, awesome. And he is everything you can imagine.
I picture him being exactly as he is on video and TV and the internet in person.
Yeah. He's the real deal all the way.
And so that program, are you learning, is it business functionality as well? I mean, and how long is it?
So really each of us, we're such a unique tribe, and each of us has a dream and a calling, and we want the support and the assistance of our tribe and from Jonathan to take the right steps. He's done such a brilliant job in his own life and his own work, and he has that integrated, he's got that balance. He has a really amazing life. His wife and his daughter, that you can feel the connected unit that they are, and he says no to things more than he'll say yes. He's really concerned about that. So he's helping us have that vibe ourselves, but also really guiding us. There's a lot of homework, and he provides office hours like you can't believe for somebody who's so busy. We're with him a lot, and we're studying how to be excellent in our own way. And for me, that's about learning to blog better, share my story more. And you'll see I began in January. So if you read back through my posts, you can really see I'm just kicking ass now. And, how to market yourself, that stuff I'm not so, I just don't know about that. And so he's really helping me with my voice and also giving me ideas on how to really share my message, to do interviews like this and just really rock it out. So
great.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And you know what? Another thing is that, and I think you pointed out, we are good at some things, but we need help in other areas.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to reach out and get that help where you need it.
Yeah, Sheila, you help people all the time. What the work you offer is amazing. And I'm really grateful and appreciative of what you're sharing with the world. And the thing I see for a lot of us, especially just going back to that boulder, that upset that we protect and push it down and ignore it. And because we're so focused on a goal, part of that problem is we don't know how to let people in, and we don't know how to be helped.
Yep.
And some of this comes out of our childhood wounding. That's another woo-woo term, but it just means the stuff that went down in our lives makes us less likely to ask for help, because somewhere along the line as little kids, we said, help me, and we got smacked down one way or another. We got shamed or made to feel small. And so we're like, I'll do it myself. I can't count on anyone else, right?
Yep.
Is that familiar? Because
Yes.
it's familiar to me. I can't count on anyone, so I'll do it on my own. And if you really want to just rock your life like you mean it, you must have people in your life that support you. I have a healer. I see her every single week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I tell everyone that because I think there's some myth that there's something wrong with you. You need to talk to someone. But, you know, Jonathan's my mentor. I've got an amazing healer. We talk on Skype, you know?
Right.
And yeah, and I have body work. I have Amina. She's my go-to marketing guru, I call her. She might not like that, but you know, I get help. I love to be helped. Why do it on my own? I'm excellent at a lot of things, but I'm not going to worry about that stuff. I'm going to get someone to help me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So let's say that there was someone out there that maybe the legs on their stool are off balance.
Yeah.
So maybe they're more business than they are dealing with themselves or dealing with family. What advice would you give that person?
So stand still, sit down, take 5 minutes and breathe and get clear about what's bugging me. How am I doing right now? And just one way or another to notice the thing that's in there. It's calling to you, believe me. You know what you're upset about. You know what you didn't sleep well about last night. You know what you woke up thinking about. It's usually about a person. It's usually about something very familiar. And I always tell my clients, it's like there's a little red thread that sews through very familiar situations of upset. And that's the common denominator. The red thread that sews through it, it's like a common denominator. What is your common denominator, you know? What are you avoiding? What are you running from or pushing harder about? You need to sit still for a few minutes and do that. And most people, if they're ready, they know it. So if you think this is BS and you're just like, I need to just keep plugging along, hey, that's cool, but you're not ready.
Get a boulder.
That's fine.
We all have boulders. We have to figure out how to take care of them.
Oh, yeah. And one way or another, they come for us. They're coming for us. So, you know, as we get older, you know, usually by the time we hit 40, oh, yeah, we're ready for someone to help us.
I love that. Hey, Robin, if someone wanted to learn more about you, where would you want to send them?
Come to my website. It's robinhallett.com. I'm sure you'll put the link up and subscribe to my list. I have a very intimate list and, you know, it's a personal journey that I share with you, and come there.
And maybe someone's looking for, and again, the word healer kind of scares me a little bit. I'm being honest. So, but maybe someone is needing that connection, but you also have coaching sessions as well.
I do. And so the thing that people tell me, and I know a lot of people, let's say mainstream people who it's not their world. A healer doesn't come into their minds a lot. You know, read my testimonials. I help a lot of people who are like that, and they always say, I had no idea a healer was like this. I'm often told that, you know, a lot of people know what psychotherapy is. They've been in therapy or they had to see a counselor or something. And they'll say, you helped me more in 3 sessions than I got in 10 years of therapy. And what can I say? You know, I just want to help you get to the real nuggets, and so that you can shine your light in the world and be amazing and have the thing you've always known you wanted to have.
Absolutely.
So, how is that weird? We're just going to have fun. We're going to crack up and giggle and have a good time.
Not weird at all.
No.
Robin, I appreciate you, what you're doing, and I appreciate your time. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
And thanks, Sheila. You're amazing. And I'm so grateful for what you're doing, too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, the world needs you, so don't underestimate your greatness. If you liked today's episode, you can spread the word by using the share buttons on the side. And if you want to learn how to simplify your life and your business, join the community and get our free updates directly to your inbox.